Hi everyone, JJIR here, and in this video we're going to see a new way of setting up Google Forms from a Google spreadsheet that I just recently finished, which should cover a few of the points that you had been asking about in previous videos that I had made about this same point. So we're making things a lot easier now for you. We've already created a template, so all you have to do after you're here in Drive is just open up a new tab, put in bit.ly slash uppercase N, 3, uppercase W, and then uppercase FORM. By clicking enter on that, that will bring up the GitHub project relationship to this. As I've mentioned in other videos, all of my gas scripts now will be in GitHub, and you guys can pull them here. The process is really simple. As soon as you open it up here, you don't have to read or understand any of this. You just go down here to the very end, to the very last line, and we're going to select all this up to the top, to the very top part of the function here. We're going to click on Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, and then we're going to happily go over here, and we're going to go right click here. We're going to open up a new Google Sheet. In this Google Sheet, we're going to put here test forms. And then, as usual, we're going to go into Tools, and we'll go into the script editor. In the script editor, we're going to also change the title to Test Forms, just to make sure it coincides with our spreadsheet. Click on OK. That takes a few seconds to save. It takes a little bit longer than normal documents from Google, but that's okay. Then we'll just go in here, select this, get rid of it, backspace, and then Control V to put our script in that we have copied from GitHub. So here we're going to save that. Click on Save, and that's ready to go. So now we've made it in such a way that you don't have to go back here to the script. You can just go here and click on Open, and then we're going to run that. And it will ask for all the permissions like normal, so we're going to give that to them. Click on Allow. And once that's done, you actually don't have to come back here. I've tried to make it in such a way that you don't have to modify anything here. Maybe in the future you want to, but basically the first part here is the template, so you don't have to set up the spreadsheet every single time you jump in. And then the rest of this is the new script, so that you guys can have a few more options when you're creating the Google form. I'm not going to dedicate a lot of time to explaining all this, but if you'd like in our video, I can go into more detail. But now with the experience I've had, at least I'm getting the idea of how to make this a little more cleaner and more precise. So after we finish that, we're going to go back to this, and now we have forms here, which is what this was here. As you can see, the menu forms, so this gets pumped up here, and we don't need the script here anymore. So once we're here in our spreadsheet, we're going to click on Forms, and we're going to create the template. The template can be applied to any sheet that you have open here, as long as you are in that sheet. So if you have two, for example, here, you can apply it to this one and this one, but the template will be applied to the one you have selected here. So we'll go into Forms, and we'll click on Create Template. This will only take a few seconds. It actually goes very fast, and this will set up everything like I originally wanted for you guys. So after that's set up, you can go back to this one, and if you want to do this again, you can also apply it to this, so you can have more than one form, and you can do it to as many as you want. And down here, the advantage is now I have something that says create forms, so that if you have, for example, 10 or 20 here, you can create all the forms at one time. You don't have to sit there and do one by one. Just take into account that when you do a bunch of forms at the same time, you only have 6 minutes. I'm hoping to set up another script later on to where that will go over 6 minutes. I'm getting that ready for you guys, but that will be for another video. For now, just make sure you don't go over the 6 minutes, which means if you have a bunch of exercises that take around 20 questions, you're probably not going to get more than 20 forms made within the 6 minute period. So just keep that in mind when you're starting to make your forms here. So we'll leave it like that. And now let's explain what we have here so that you guys can take advantage of this area. The first thing you must fill out rather, is here the exercise. You have to put a title here, so we'll just put test 1 for this idea. And then down here, the description. These two has to be filled out, otherwise you'll get an error when you run the script. So you can just put here is the description, and you'll be ready to go for that. Okay. So outside of that, the other thing that's completely necessary to fill out is the folder ID. So now you'll be able to put all your forms here that you create in a folder. So we're just going to go over here. We're going to create a folder, and we'll put test forms here too. And we'll finish that off here. Then we'll go and click on test forms. And as we've seen in other videos, this has been slightly modified, but here it's up to the question mark. So just keep that in mind. So after the first slash here, up to the question mark is the ID of this folder. We're just going to grab this. Sometimes this part here is not there at the end. Many times in the past, you just had the ID, but just taking into consideration that sometimes a question mark comes out now. So we're going to go back here, and we're going to put that folder ID in this cell here, which is D1, so that when the forms are created, it will be put into the folder that you have selected. There's no way of changing that for now, if that affects someone, but I'm presupposing that most people wanted the forms in a folder, so we're going to leave it like that. The public URL is going to be filled out by itself. Every sheet corresponds to obviously one form. So the public URL that comes from having made the form will come here, so you guys don't have to search for the forms later on. So you'll have like your mini database here for the future when you want to use it. So here, copy form is something that you can use instead of creating a new form. We're going to do it the simple way right now. But you can either A, create a new form from zero, or B, you can actually use a form that you've done and use it as a template. So I've also integrated that into here. And here the link copy and the shuffle. The shuffle is if you want the question shuffled. This is completely and totally dependent upon if you put in a copy form here, because unfortunately shuffling the questions from starting from zero is not possible. So you need to have a template that already has a question made so that you can shuffle them later on. I'll explain that when I add the new one. So those things are related here. And the link copy is where you're going to put the link of the form that you're going to use as the template. So you're going to put that there. We're going to do that as a second round. First, we're going to see how this works so you guys can take advantage of it. The other thing that's new here is that now that the options here, this is for, I have to underline, you have your multiple choice. And over here, as you've seen in the previous video, you have choice, which reflects multiple choice. You have the list, which is a drop-down list, and then you have checkbox. Those are the three that you can auto-grade now. I've set it up to where if you go here and you put something in here, for example, we'll just put 1 for now. If you make this green, and it has to be this color and only this color, if you turn it to green, then the form will automatically select this as the correct answer when you create your form. So that should resolve a problem that you had previously of making auto-gradable forms. So now you can actually select any and all answers that you want to be correct. You just put them in green, and that will reflect as the correct answer on the form. There is no way of selecting ones that are wrong, so this is only for selecting the ones you want to be correct in that. Just a little footnote here, Google hasn't offered it to me, but now you can actually autocorrect checkboxes, check grids, and text, which is very interesting. But unfortunately, Google has not offered programmers methods to program that. So if you wanted to have auto grading, you can now do that with checkboxes, check grids, and text. Take a look at that, and I'll probably set up another video explaining that too. But just so you know, those are new things that you can take advantage of to auto grade things in your forms or your quizzes that you're offering to the students. So here, obviously, we are going to have to select one of these. We'll just use the simplest one, which is choice. And then we can put some other options here as we want. You can put up to 10 here. I haven't made it to make it any longer because I've seen very few exams that want more than 10 options under multiple choice. So I'm going to leave it like that. But you can space them out. It means you can put one here, for example, and there's no problem. And it will grab all of these, and it will know that this one's the correct, and then we'll put the other ones as answers. So that has also been resolved for you guys. So basically, the other thing here that you can put down, these are optional. You can put instructions for each question. We're just going to put instructions here for now. And then points, we'll just put 10. You can put 1 to 100 or whatever amount of points you want there. Again, those are optional. These are also optional here. These are something else I've added, which is you can put for giving feedback to the students. You can put feedback for true, feedback for false, and then you put the link that you want the students to look at, and then the text that the hyperlink will be over. So all of this is purely optional, so we can just say good here, bad here. Here we can just put our wonderful script so that you guys can see how this is going to work. Oh, he didn't like that very much, did he? Looks like there is some space up here. Okay. And we'll get that over here so it doesn't block our view. Here we have linked text, and we can say, look at this. Okay, so again, these are optional. The C column from C4 to this H4 here is, these are all optional. You do not have to put those in if you don't want. You will have to put options in. Remember, you will get an error if you try to put this as something else, for example, paragraph, whatever. Putting stuff here, if you put it as a paragraph, it's not going to affect anything because the paragraph script is not going to look over here. But if you try to choose a choice and then you leave all these empty, it's going to ask you why you're doing this, and it's going to produce an error. So just make sure that if you choose choice, you put in options here, even though you might just put one, but you have to put at least something there. So we'll just put a check box in here just so you can see the differences, and we'll just grab these here and pop them down here, and then we'll put down here a list so you can see the exact same thing, and we won't put any points or anything there. We'll just leave it like that. So a few other couple new things here. I've given some more options of things that you can put down. Acceptance is something that you put at the end. You do not put this in the middle of the exam. You put that at the end to where it forces the student to accept whether he has not copied from his other companions or not. And if he puts no, then it forces them to go to the beginning of the exam again, and they have to put yes so that you have some sort of evidence there. So that's just an option I added. Checkbox, check grid, we've already mentioned those. Just be very, very careful here. When you choose a checkbox, you have to leave the second line here empty. So make sure that when you choose either checkbox or check grid, you have to leave, you can choose this one here and then leave this one as empty, this one here, this one is empty, and then you go down and you can choose whatever else that you want here. But you just have to make sure that you have these things with spaces, otherwise it won't work. So I'm sorry, this checkbox is not the right one. I meant here grid. I didn't mean checkbox. Checkbox is the one we're going to put up here. This is the grid here. So you have a grid here and the check grid. So these two are the ones you have to leave the space over. So when you have this row here, you have to make sure that this row is empty and this row is completely empty. You do not put anything there. Then in regards to these guys, you have to put titles. You can't leave them empty, otherwise you'll get an error. So we're just going to put here, let's put question 1, and we'll just copy that down. Leave it to there, and then we'll put it there, one there. Okay, so grid and check marks, we're just going to put the same thing. We're just going to put 1, 2, 3, and then down here we can put 4, 5. I'm sorry, getting all confused here. Up here, 4, 5, and 6. And then we'll just grab these so you can see the same thing for the other example. Go down here, put it here. Okay, so now that we have those things, those are set up again. As long as you have the titles here, you're fine. Then over here, we have date. I've put a date here. Those are completely passive. And then we have time. Those are also passive. You can put points here, funny enough, but you just have to make sure you put other titles here. So we'll just change these to 2, and then this one we'll change to 3, this one 4, this one 5, and then we'll just grab this and bring it down so you guys can see the differences. Okay, and then we have here paragraph, which is the paragraph in text. I have not been able to do validation yet. I'm hoping to add that in a later time. That will be based upon something here because I can't do too much with it, and it will be limited probably to just being a strict type of thing, to where it's either all or nothing. I'm not going to have the possibility of adding too many options here. So most likely when I do add that, I'll just add it to the form, the gas that we have here. And when I put that in, most likely, like I mentioned, it will just be like an all or nothing, meaning if it's not exactly like what you're asking of, then it will not let you continue on with other questions. And then if I have more time in the future, I might add other things, but that'll probably be the only thing I'm going to add in a more recent manner. But just so you guys know that I do have that in mind, and hopefully we'll be able to add it later on. So for right now, there's going to be no validation until I have time to add those things. So a page is the section break that's going to divide up the questions in the exam, for so to speak. And then we have, let's see here, there's another thing I wanted to show you guys in regards to this. The page in the section. So this is slightly confusing, but the page is the page break, and this is going to be like your title. So the equivalent to title. So we can put a title in here so you can see how it is, and we'll leave it like that. And then we'll go here, and then we have, I've also added scale. So scale, how does scale work? Very simple. Here, the places you're going to put scale is, you're going to put 1, 2, 3 here, and then high and low. And so that should pop out for your scale. We're going to put 10 here so you can see the difference there. So just make sure that you use these 4 columns for the range and then the names of the extremes. So the scale now is able to be put down without any problem. So we'll put down here question 8 so you guys can see that. Leave it like that. And I'll go over here, and then I also added a couple new things for you guys, which is video, and then we have image 1 and image 2. So what are these? Well, Google now recently gave us the possibility of adding images from Google Drive. So image 1 is going to be your typical one from the internet, and image 2 is going to be the one from Google Drive. So we'll just put internet here, and then just put Drive. And then finally, we have the video one that you guys can use, which is this one here. And this is strictly just YouTube, so just keep that in mind. You're not going to be able to do anything else with that. So we have those here. You can put instructions on all of these all the way down, except on the ones I mentioned here, which is the grid and the check grid, which obviously I did this wrong because I can't do it like this. So just be careful, because if you do that, then you'll have a problem. We're going to bring those down and get rid of that guy. And I'll put that down here. The scale here has moved over as well. So just, well, actually, we'll copy that and move down. Get rid of them here so it remains blue. So making sure you leave the spaces here, the rows empty, so that you can have the possibility. So we're going to have to move these as well so that there's no confusion. So let's see here. The grid is on this one. We have that. And the check grid's fine. So that's all set to go as well. Okay. So the final thing that we have is the links for these guys. So where you're going to put the links. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to put the links under link here. So as it says link, you're going to put the links here. So we'll just grab a cat image here real quick so you guys can see that. Images. And we'll just go to this one and then right click on this guy. We're going to copy image address here. And then we're going to go to this guy. We're going to pop him in. Oh, I'm sorry. That is not what we want here. Go back here. And let's see here. Yes. No, I think it is this one here that we need. Or it could be link address. We'll see right now. And we'll pop this guy in here. And then if that doesn't work, then we'll check the other one out. But we'll just put link address right now. Let's cut that off. And we'll go into YouTube here real quick. So we can grab another link so you guys can see that. Okay, we're just going to put me in here so we don't have problems in regards to things that could come out later on in the video. And close that guy up here, come back, and we'll go into a video here, pop that one in there. And then we'll just go into Drive here and grab the screenshot one that we have. This is going to be an ID. So most likely what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to open it up and then go to the three dots here and then go to open in new window. So we're going to click on that and then get the ID of the image here. Grab this guy and then we'll go back and put him in image 1 here. So we should have that. So that's basically the essential here. So right now we're going to leave it like that and then run this guy so you guys can see how it works. Okay, just before we run this thing, I just wanted to clarify. I just found out that it was the wrong link I had grabbed here for the image. The image, when you right-click it, it has to go down to copy image address. I think I had grabbed something wrong there. So it's copy image address, and then you go over here, and then we're going to click on this guy, pop him in, and then we should be ready to go. So now after we've filled out everything we need to fill out, we're going to go into here to forms, and then we're going to create form. And then it's going to add, I did made an experiment here, but this is going to change and it's going to add the new link. So you don't have to erase anything. If you redo something, it'll add the new hyperlink here for the public forum once you finish running it. So as it's running here, it'll finish, and then first of all, you'll have this in your folder here, and then like I mentioned before, you can go straight here and click on this guy, and he will open up just as if these students were going to do it. As you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3. Everything here is working. You have your questions here. Question 4, which was the grids, the checkbox grids, the date, the times, the paragraph, the text here, the high and the low, as we mentioned before, the image. You have the image from Drive and your YouTube video. So all that type of stuff is working perfectly fine now. And there was something here I wanted to show you guys. I can't remember exactly what it was here. There was, yes, I wanted to show you guys the point here of when you open it up, you can see now that these are set as correct. So if we go to the answer key, these are set up as correct, and you have your feedback and your good and your bad. So all that is now set up as well. So that just leaves us one more thing to show you guys so that you can take advantage of this, is the fact that you can make a template. So here I can go to forms here, open up Google Forms. We're going to make a template. And the template, we're just going to put template here. Template. And we'll leave it like that. So what are you going to do here? There's various things that, unfortunately, when you make a Google form from zero, are not added. So the few things here, first of all, in settings, collecting email addresses, we're going to restrict it. We're going to limit it to 1. And those 2 things we'll leave like that. The presentation, shuffle order, we can shuffle the order if we want, or the progress bar. And then we're going to turn into quiz. Now, the thing that you can't do, unfortunately, from 0 is switch these. So usually immediately means you're doing an exercise with the kids so they can see their answers later on. Immediately, I'm sorry. And then later on is for an exam, for example, that you don't want them to take screenshots of or something like that. So given the fact this is not something you can do from making a form from 0, basically what we want to do here is to create a template so that we have this here. And then as soon as we have everything as we want to, your presentation in general, then we can save that. And the other thing that we can't do is to shuffle the options. So we have to put a shuffle option order here. And this will be required later on. But when you have the multiple choice here, we have to put exactly as we have in the template. So this is going to be choice. You have to make sure there's no extra spaces here. It has to be exactly the same way as we have it here in the template. So we have choice here. And then what's going to happen here, and just so you guys can see how this is going to work, and once we're done with this, then we just grab the form ID here, grab it like this, and then we're going to go into the other one that we had open here just to simplify things. And we're going to put the copy form, link copy here. That's the form we're going to copy. And we're going to put copy form yes, and then shuffle, we're going to put yes. Okay, so those things are set up to go. And then the public URL is going to be filled out later on. We're going to go back and grab our wonderful test form ID here. I'm going to grab that. And I could have grabbed it from the tab here, but we'll just like this right now so you can see the process again. So once that's done, then we're going to put exam here too, and then put here description. Okay, and then down here we'll just choose choice, And we're just going to put question 1. And then here we'll just put instructions. So put here points 10. This we're just going to skip for right now so you can see you can skip it. And then we're going to put here 1, 2, and 3. And this one will make green again. So just quickly see how these things are going to work. So once we have everything set up and we have these things selected and we put our template here, then all we have to do again is to run create form, and that is going to produce the second one that we have. But this is now going to be based on the template that we did. So that should only take a few seconds. There we go. We put the public one there in. And then when we go here, we're going to see exam 2. And going in exam 2, we can hop in here and we're going to have this ready to go. And obviously these are shuffled. So just to keep in mind that this is the only way to shuffle the questions and to change above all this part here to go immediately or to later. Usually it's just set on immediately, but you can put it to later. So that will be a setup for you guys so you can use. So in total, these are the new things that we've added here, and hopefully this will help you tremendously for the next semester to get your quizzes and exams ready for the students using this template. And as I mentioned before, hopefully I will be able to add a few more options like the validation in the future when I have time, but at least you guys can run with this. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below in the comments. And if you guys want to, just give a thumbs up there and subscribe so that we can keep on doing these things for you guys in the future. And hold on tight because we have a lot more coming. Thanks a lot.